That is the
Yeah.
day the AI can take it. Because like me as a meat bag, I don't get it. I just
Right.
don't get it. I
Yeah.
and I, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So second really good article is it's not written, I believe, by Bjorn Schulz himself, but it's on his company blog, which always has great material. By the way, if you're interested, consider subscribing to them. So
yeah.
yeah. So
By the
yeah.
way, I
Yeah.
know this
Go
guy,
ahead.
Volodymyr Vashenko. I know him.
Oh, cool.
He is incredible. So shout out to Volo. I'll forward him the link to this thing when we talk to him. I didn't even know we'd be talking. I just talked to him yesterday. This is
Sweet.
funny.
All right. Shout out. All right, so we're well connected within SAP. We are not like some kind of like hoi polloi here.
No,
We are like who is who, and we know people who know people. Awesome. All right. So yeah,
like,
shout out to Volodymyr. So really great article. So it is kind of humble name API pull factors. It talks a lot about different subjects around APIs. And the main point, I think, was what it starts as SAP team should prioritize APIs on automation. I 100% agree,
yeah,
especially about automation part, which honestly cannot be done without APIs
yeah,
mostly. So
yeah,
they come closely together. And I think an important kind of pose that may here that's right here. The reality is, yeah, it doesn't run without automation. Automation doesn't run without API. So that's perfectly put right here. And I think some comments that were made on like social media posts sharing this article were like, while people are kind of talking about AI tools and kind of still mulling over like, is it worse? Is it working? Like, what's the best, etc. There are already automations running and have been running in SAP using APIs. Good old Bobbies were like first generation APIs in SAP space. So
Mhm.
that there is really valuable piece that honestly, it isn't even new. Some people think APIs are some kind of new subject. They really aren't, but it doesn't mean that they're less valuable. It's actually the opposite. So lots of great observations here. I think the only bit that I just wanted to mention in this call, let me see. So availability in ECC. Obviously, ECC doesn't have the same range of standard SAP APIs that S/4HANA does,
yeah,
just
yeah,
because different stack.
yeah,
I'm not quite sure what Vladimir kind of meant here, replacing the report that exists solely to modify records. Um, but I mean, I think using API as sort of framework or just general approach, it's also valid for ECC. So, and at
yeah,
this point, I mean, ECC obviously, regardless of when you migrate, it's obviously not going to last anyone forever. So,
yeah.
whether it's 6 months or 5 years, when eventually you want to migrate to something else, you probably will be better off if you try to focus your development on API, even though, I mean, there's nothing
Yes.
wrong with Z reports. You can use Z reports, but your Z reports should be calling APIs at this point,
Yeah.
just to execute them, basically. So, just like don't put stuff maybe directly in Z report. Just put it in some reusable way.
I
Don't
mean,
use.
I honestly think that if, because I mean, a lot of companies like SAP is great, but like ECC is fine for right
Yeah,
now, and
yeah, yeah,
like I think if you shift like the if you're sitting on ECC and you just shift your focus to like everything we do, if it can be API-ified, we're gonna do it. That will go a long way.
yeah,
And frankly, all of you people from SAP listening to this, maybe put on your earmuffs right now. Like, you can extend the life of your ECC system by a lot just
yeah,
by focusing on this.
yeah,
If ECC is a player in a larger tapestry of other things, just make the APIs like go. Like you will get a lot of mileage out of this approach.
yeah,
Completely agree.
yeah, yeah, definitely. All right. And then third article. So I'm just shamelessly kind of borrowing from other people articles. So really good write-up from Tobias Hoffman about this event. So there was SAP Intelligence event was in Amsterdam in the beginning of March. It was sponsored by Booking.com, and it was, I would describe it as like, it says like intelligence event. So it's kind of SAP AI themed event that included not just SAP with their dual presentations, but also other vendors like Amazon and who else was there? And Amazon and Microsoft. So they
Yeah,
were
yeah,
two
yep,
main
yep.
then, and really good write up from Tobias. So he was there, um, and not just talking about the event itself, which might be of like lesser interest to people who don't go to the events,
Yeah,
but his kind of overview of what's going on in those different kind of ecosystems,
yeah.
which try to touch on SAP space as well. Like for example, he talks about Amazon all of a sudden posted something, and it's been a few months, but I've only heard about it literally a couple of weeks ago. There
Yeah.
is ABAP accelerator provided by Amazon that uses their Q developer, whatever that is. Honestly, I have not really understood quite yet, because I just again found out recently. Microsoft has been kind of plugging a lot in AI and SAP space, so no surprise there. They have quite a lot to offer.
Bringing
Um,
Joule and Copilot together, two of the
yeah,
enterprisiest enterprise things in the
yeah,
universe.
exactly.
Yeah.
Heavy heavy
What
hitter in enterprise space.
what unholy monstrosity will be born of that union is yet to be seen.
Yeah. Every year we see like SAP and Microsoft kind of, like politician, doing like hug and handshake like on stage, like somewhere every single year, but still no Excel integration.
And then
Like
they're
everyone.
doing the thing where they're doing that stage, but then behind the seenes they're like poisoning each other's drinks all the time. And yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like dagger behind, hugging you
Yes.
with like keeping, fingers crossed, like it's not for real. It's just like some major Game of Thrones stuff going on behind there. Is that? Oh, and Google was also there apparently. So man, that's like Kentucky Derby of enterprise software, ERP, and AI space. So if you guys miss this event, apparently super big loss. Yeah, I would have loved to attend, but yeah, it's like very expensive travel to Europe,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
especially now with exchange rate is just being abysmal. All right,
Yeah.
and SAP also ran apparently. So for full disclosure, I looked at the agenda for this event because I was just curious, like what's up with that. I saw there were lots of hands-on sessions for SAP Joule. They were all booked solid ahead of time.
Yeah.
There is clearly a lot of interest about SAP Joule, but I do kind of suspect that a lot of the interest is maybe so that people can kind of put it on their resume and just kind of talk about it more intelligently. And maybe also because there simply isn't a lot of like real information out there. And the tool isn't that easily available so that anyone and everyone can just go out and explore it. Because if I'm interested in like, I don't know, like Gemini or what Google has to offer, I can much easier do that. If I need to get
Yeah.
subscription, I just get my credit card, get my subscription, like I don't know, $20 a month or so. I don't need to call any, account executive, don't need to send the fax to anyone, don't need to install like 5 different SAP nodes, I don't have any other dependencies. I don't need to get like on higher tier of BTP,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. So I do kind of, and I don't mean this kind of to crap on SAP, but I do suspect that huge interest, not because the tool is awesome, but because you just cannot really see it
You
any
can't.
other way.
Yeah.
Like, so, so yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and I just want, so again, I don't mean to be kind of negative Nancy here, but I don't want people to misunderstand interest for the real business value or excitement. So that's
This
kind of
this dovetails with a different point I want to make too. So lock this in your head a little bit.
awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So, and before kind of send off to Paul, I just want to take a moment of silence and pour one out for the SAP
I'll
Build
pour my
Apps,
Mountain Dew out for yeah.
who is kind of gone but not forgotten. So apparently, RIP SAP Build Apps, which is former AppGyver, SAP very suddenly, very kind of abruptly deprecated it literally on the same day, I think, when this blog post was posted. So SAP Build Apps is and AppGyver is no more.
Yeah.
We can finally stop talking about it like few. So we kind of when I saw this announcement, my first idea was like, oh no, anyway, like
It it definitely had the like like if you can announce and kill on the same day, I don't know if your user base was that big to begin with.
yeah,
Not a lot of
yeah,
people
yeah,
depending on AppGyver, or
yeah,
I should say SAP Build Apps. I shouldn't have
yeah,
said that.
yeah,
SAP Build Apps. Um, uh, I don't think it's having the impact that anybody hoped it
yeah.
would
A-
for
And
that.
it's funny because I scrolled to the comments. There are actually surprisingly high level of comments. Some of them are just taking like, are you sure like this is like the date and you're just announcing, yes, that really happened. But there are like s- quite a few people. They were kind of, yeah, disappointed. Like, I don't know who are you people, like where were you before, but because honestly, it's not like I go out of my way to find news about this, but I have been kind of quietly following this all along. I have written about AppGyver when it was still AppGyver, etc.
Yeah.
So it was of some interest to me. It wasn't top of my priority list, but it was of some. And I literally have not really heard like anything about it. So I don't know. So that probably tells you something. All right, so that's all for me, and over to you,
Okay.
Paul.
Okay. I'm gonna. Oh, share is different. Okay, gotta do share. I feel like an old man every time I do try to do things. Okay. So I'm gonna start in the same pocket that you ended, I guess here,
Mm-hmm.
which is so I had a thought I wanted to share both with this, and I think it kind of dovetails too with the um the post from Tobias um in the in the point you were making about it, are the seats filled for the reason you think they're filled in these things? So I'm gonna make a related point here, and then I'll draw the line between them. This is of course this is the same the blog post that you just showed. This is the this is the oh no anyway of build apps, and something caught my eye that also draws a line to something that you and I talk about a lot, which is hey, what should I learn next?
Mm-hmm.
What should I learn? How do I upskill? Because I had seen there's some questions, and shout out to Patrick who put these questions in it. Like, good. Like, I'm really glad that there are these things out there for
Mm-hmm.
people to read these things and do these things. So, one of the questions was, which tool can I replace it with, and how can I realize my use case? This is kind of a more businessy focused kind of question, but it rang my bell a little bit for people who we're also some small community out there who has SAP Build Apps as like one of their core offerings as a human skill, as a thing that they offer to customers, employers, whatever the case may be. And my reflection on this is if your question is, okay, SAP or any big vendor, Microsoft, Google, whoever deprecates something and you are worried, then like I want to sort of say, how do I put this? When you're doing the learning of things, when you're upskilling yourself toward whatever, you're facing a skill apocalypse. I think you should invest in your skills and not into tools. So, in other words, if somebody rug pulls SAP Build Apps, that it doesn't leave you like, well, I spent all my time memorizing the menus of SAP Build
Mm-hmm.
Apps to do this. Like, if you have the choice, learn the skills behind these things. Learn about web APIs and OData and things like that that were the glue of how Build Apps like displayed things and hydrated the templates and all this stuff from their system. Learn those things. Learn those things, and then if somebody rug pulls Build Apps from you, it doesn't matter because you understand the bricks that were laid to make it. And then
Mm,
whatever is replaced, like SAP Build itself also deals in some like prompting apps into being or doing low code kind of stuff. And like the distinction there becomes less relevant if you know the core thing. Plus, honestly, if you know the core stuff better, you learn the new tool faster anyway,
mm,
right? If you understand that for build apps or for whatever that like, the application is ingesting the metadata an OData service and like, doing its planning and building out based on that stuff and following the HTTP verbs and stuff of get, post, patch, delete options, all this kind of stuff that you're doing there, then it doesn't matter whether the shell is build apps or the shell is build or the shell is power apps or whatever. Like you know the pipes and you can put any shell you want on top of that,
mm,
including an agent that you're prompting with, and it has an MCP tool or a skill or something like that that knows how to call the APIs and these things. Same idea. If you understand that the APIs are built this way and shaped this way, then you will understand what the agent is doing when the agent is trying to do, approve a PO or whatever, right?
mm,
So my exhortation to people, I mean, I'm sure not a lot of people are paying attention to this in particular,
mm,
but in general is like when the vendor makes the tool go bye-bye, your job is to ensure that your skill is not affected by a tool going away.
mm,
Make the skill make the skill last forever. And I guess maybe I'll add one more thing. Is that like the advice that I've been giving on this and several times on this very show you're watching is like it doesn't really matter what you learn, just be learning something. And that still applies. Um, it, you don't like get overly tangled up or worried about is it a tool, is it a skill, whatever. But like think about it a little bit. Do put some thought into
yeah,
is this a skill or is this like am I memorizing the menu for Microsoft Word to like
yeah.
insert a font
And
somewhere,
it's
right?
honestly, it's has becoming a great issue in SAP ecosystem, and I don't know if maybe for humanity at large, because I have been interviewing people for various reasons for SAP jobs, either where I work or for someone else. And what we are kind of observing is that exactly like you said, everyone knows their stuff, like stuff they work with. They know the tools, they
Yeah,
know their menus, they know maybe 500 debugger tricks or something. But
yeah,
as soon as you deviate from the tools and start asking questions that are designed to just gauge person's critical thinking skills or analytical thinking or how they approach troubleshooting, people just hang. And I'm talking people with more than 10 years of experience. And it's just
yeah,
so frustrating, it's disappointing. And honestly, it's just kind of, I don't know, it's sad that people like that just work and kind of doesn't seem to be bothered to just look maybe deeper
yeah,
or think
yeah,
why things
yeah,
talk. And I think that when you're lacking that, you will always be limited in your prospects. I mean, your
yeah,
tool in SAP world, it's easy to get comfortable. Your tool may carry you on for like decade, but it's likely that either in some kind of economic downturn or some kind of other unfortunate turn of events, you might you might get gone. And if you find yourself out there in an open market and all you know is menus and tools and really have never had any original thought in your head, you will have really hard time, I
It'd be hard.
think. Yeah.
Be
So
very hard.
yeah.
Okay. one more bummer thing, and
Oh
then I'm
man.
gonna try to end on not a
All
bummer.
right.
Okay.
Nice.
So bummer, wah
Oh
wah.
man.
Oracle
Yeah.
cutting like tens of thousands of people were laid off from
Mm.
Oracle. And so the reason I pick on this is, or the reason I shouldn't say pick on, the reason I sort of my brain highlights this is that, over the last few years, I've written 5 or 6 times, I think, about various companies doing layoffs and having it be somehow related. At least somebody is saying it's related
Mm.
to AI. And in the past, I did a story. I think it was IBM. This must be 3 years ago or something like that. Shortly after
Mm.
ChatGPT hit the world, IBM announced that they were going to do some layoffs, and those at that time, it was very clear that the layoffs were more like, I anticipate that AI might be able to do this stuff in the near future, so we're going to proactively like look away from that. That was one of the pieces that sort of floating around about that one,
Mm.
which is like, in that case, the AI didn't take your job. Like, somebody just wanted to get rid of you for some other reason and
Yeah.
kind of slapped AI on
Yeah.
the label of it, right?
Yeah.
This one is, and then there's the opposite end of the spectrum where it's like, the company Square, which is now called Block, they laid off like 35% of their workforce, something like that, recently, the last month or two. And Jack Dorsey, the CEO of that company, was much more explicit. Like, he was like, we can get essentially we can get the same amount of stuff done with fewer people,
Mm.
right? So that's like kind of like, just whether it's true or not, it's putting the label directly on it that says,
Mm.
yes, AI is the reason you guys are all gone, in one reason or another.
Mm.
This one here, which is the Oracle has been part of the like massive build out of like AI data centers.
Mm.
And this there's analysts saying that, like, okay, if you cut 20, 30,000 employees, you get like up to $10 billion in incremental cash flow,
Yeah.
free cash flow, which you can then invest in the data centers if you need to, which I think is like, they have a lot of money going into that stuff.
Yeah.
So this one is somewhere in the middle because it's not sort of putting a label on something that maybe wasn't AI, but it's also not like AI replacing your job. It's more like,
Yeah.
we want to invest in AI. Your services are no longer required. We're going to put your salary into a bucket that they pour into the data center over
Mm.
here, right? So this is like one of many parts of a spectrum of like the AI impact on jobs in one way or the other.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't think there's many details yet on exactly which departments and exactly which people made it out there, and like what others has like, but if you fire, you know, 20% of your workforce, it's probably coming from a couple different places and rather than just one.
Yeah.
So, we'll have to see what this looks like. But the point I'm making here is that, like, this is still on the, like, none of the verbiage coming out of Oracle or the stories is about, like, yeah, we're using AI now. You don't have to go staple papers together in the copy room, right?
Yeah.
But it's still not, but it's still something more than like a misplaced label on something else. So
Yeah.
there's things out there, you know.
Yeah, I saw that too, and also saw that reason was like not like AI took your job, but we need money that's yeah to use on AI essentially,
Yeah,
and in those situations it always sucks honestly for the people who remain there
yeah,
because AI didn't take this job, so there is no one doing them. These jobs that needs to be done usually simply falls on
yeah,
overloading whoever has left. It's like you're lucky one. Now here is a load of 20,000 people who just left, and you now do that on top of what you
yeah,
you had before. So it's kind of there is unfortunately never winning combination here. But I mean, as a very very minority shareholder in Oracle,
Mhm.
although to be honest, I'm kind of considering probably selling them because I simply don't really support a lot of things, and I
Yeah,
mean
yeah, yeah.
it's nice to get share price increase, but I have some morals left, I suppose. still still
Maybe,
regardless.
maybe some
Some
morals
yeah,
left.
maybe it's something I can afford. So I don't think I will be supporting this company with my investment much longer. All right.
Okay,
So more
sad,
positive stuff.
sad
Okay.
sack shit done. Thank you very much.
Um,
Okay, so, um, uh, friend of mine, Alex Jones, who is a mindset alumni, uh, um, is in the midst of launching and announcing a new company he's creating for using AI to help companies in their go-to-market strategies for selling things and acquiring customers and all this kind of stuff. And so he's kind of become AI pilled really recently himself. Um, and so he wrote a little post on here LinkedIn about like he's on spring break with his in-laws. He he is of course yammering on and being a dork about AI stuff, and like not a single one of them had ever heard of Claude. Okay, so like the this is this how can somebody possibly not know what Claude is in 2026? Bro, a lot of people don't know what Claude is
yeah.
in 2026, right?
Yeah.
Um, so but that's not my only point. This is not my only point. So I saw this the other day. Oh, only like a day ago. Um, and it tickled my brain for something I saw from it was only the day before. Okay, not maybe not too far apart. But uh this is one of those Hasso-Plattner Founder Award things,
Mm.
which is essentially the Obama putting the medal on Obama meme, right? Because it's like SAP awards for SAP stuff.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's fine. It's like big companies have that, no big deal. Um, he says the SAP Document AI, which takes documents and like extracts the structured information that might be in them to sort of like go further down into other processes of like scanning invoices and payments and all this kind of stuff to
Mm.
do stuff, right. And of course the team that worked on Document AI won the Founders Award from Hasso-Plattner. I don't know whether Hasso-Plattner still does that, but anyway, Christian Klein was there doing it too. Um, the thing I wanted to say is like this is one of those things where like okay, maybe your auntie and uncle, or maybe your boss's boss or whatever, has not heard of AI and doesn't like couldn't tell Claude from a hole in the ground, doesn't know anything. Actually think that document AI use cases are one of the most powerful ways to convince non-AI pilled people that AI is useful. Amazing or not, I don't know. Useful? Yes. Because as soon as you show them like an ugly, like handwritten over the top of like printed paper, like PDF that gets
Mm.
emailed from Joe's lawn cutting service, that is like a four-man crew that's doing whatever, and then turning that right into like the PO approval or whatever process at your company through an automated thing that can like look at that and extract the actual information.
Mm.
Like non-nerds get that. Non-nerds understand, oh, that's really cool. I have to spend all day cracking open these dumb PDFs and like figuring out
Yeah.
what Tim meant when he like underlined this one thing over here. Why did he do that? That's not a number I need to care about. Was like this flavor of I think is one of the most powerful ways to communicate what's possible, even if it's not like the top of the list of like what I find most incredible.
Mm.
I think I have to take my blinders off to what I find incredible to say this is actually this and products like this, because SAP Document AI is not the only thing that does this by a
Mm.
long shot. Um, and frankly, there are probably things that do it better, but nevertheless, SAP offers this as a service. This is a thing that I think. people can understand. So if you're looking, I guess what I'm saying is, if you're looking to convince your boomer boss to like invest in AI, hook up document AI of some kind to all those stupid emails that come into your admin assistant's email box that they have to route to whatever team and do it like that, and they will see the light right away. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, rant over.
Yeah, and honestly, I was just kind of listening to that. I don't mean to put it in like back in the days, we used to go like walk to school like 2 miles, uphill, but it's a super popular use case.
Yeah.
It's I mean at work, not myself specifically, but other people here, they do quite a bit of work with this tool. It's very popular, and it was part of my very first SAP project where company I worked for, we needed to, for legal reasons, we needed to print out invoices and deliver them and get physical signature on the
Yeah.
documents. So it was before all those nice tablets, etc., a long time
Yeah.
ago. And then what we needed to do, we also needed to scan those invoices because, I mean, paper, you're not going to store it for a long time
Yeah.
and you're not going to capture the fact that you got the signature. We had to scan it, and we had special third-party software that was OCR based, essentially, just
Hmm.
reading
Hmm.
those documents through scanner. And the problem, not real problem, I mean, it's problem that had a solution at the time. It read invoice number from that document, but because it was very plain OCR, the invoice number always needed to be in specific place. So
Yeah.
it was relying on the fact that invoice number is here, and if it's not in that specific place on the paper, that's it. That's like,
Yeah.
forget it. It
Yeah.
cannot do anything.
Yeah.
And I remember we needed to make changes in the form that was printing invoices, and then it was oh shit moment that we cannot move this field because that program would go haywire. and
Yeah.
and with document AI, you don't have those problems anymore.
Yeah.
Essentially, I mean, it's not the only advantage, but it's literally, like you said, it can take like any random document and it can look at it like more like human would and just make sense of information on it, regardless of where it's located. It can be
Yeah.
in number, can be here, there, over there, who knows. So really useful, lots of documents exchanging, hands and faxes and PDFs and all of that. Awesome. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
So awesome.
There we go. Good to go.
Sweet. All right. So everyone, thank you so much for watching. And so these are subjects that expect to read in our newsletter next week. I hope that you like this video, and also, of course, subscribe to newsletter, buy us coffee, please, please, please. And like us, we are cute and cuddly and very likable.
Please like me. Please like me.
Yes. Yes, hit that like button, write a little star or heart or something. All right, so take a moment to appreciate what we're doing. I hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much, everyone. Take
Bye,
care.
guys.